we also had a record-breaking year in my business. We actually clocked in at $168 million in sales, which is just mind-boggling to a guy, as you know my story, that started a little over almost 11 years ago. To be doing those types of numbers in a single year is quite unheard of, and I'm so remarkably grateful and thankful that that's happening. And the most exciting part about that number isn't the sales number itself, it's actually the $100 million plus out of that got paid back into our family's pockets, that is allowing people to live with freedom, to live a higher quality and standard of life, and really to not hold back and play small towards their wants, their desires, and also the way that they want to contribute and give back to their families, to their communities, and to causes that they're passionate about all over the world. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Diamond Life Mentor Podcast with your host, Balazs W Kardos. And I'm super excited to dive into today's topic, which is all around stretching yourself in a way where it forces you to grow in an unreasonable, unrealistic fashion towards your highest self and the vision and goals that you have for your future. And I want to talk a little bit about that. But before we dive in, I just want to say, first of all, how grateful I am that you listen to the show, that you download the show, that you share it on social media, and you tell people about it through word of mouth with your business and family, friends, whoever you're sharing the show with. So thank you so much. This month is already looking to be the second or possibly the third highest month of downloads since I launched the show March of last year. So thank you guys for the support. If you are new, just starting to listen, I do highly recommend starting back at episode 1 and working your way through and catching up and listening to all the different episodes, because I am sort of adding to it. And even though the episodes are valuable as a standalone episode, in my mind, it's a continuation, right? The other thing I want to say is that if you are new to the show, please take a moment to leave us a review. That really helps our show grow. So if you feel it's worthy of a 5-star review, please take a moment to do that. And also on Spotify or Apple, you can leave a little comment as well, which helps a lot along with your rating. So please take a moment to do that. Super simple. You'll see a section on Spotify and Apple to do it. You rate it with the stars, and then you leave a little comment. That means the world to me as well. So yeah, we're almost 3 weeks into 2024, and a lot of people's new year, new me, that vibe, that energy, that excitement, that this is the year that everything changes, that they become healthier, wealthier, fit, and free, starts to really decline for many, many individuals. And so I want to check in with you, right? I want to check in with you and see how you're doing. How are you progressing towards your goals? How are you progressing to the promises that you made yourself around the new habits that you wanted to create, around the new structure and daily method of operation that you want to focus on? Are you on track? Have you fallen off? Have you started to feel discouraged and feel like maybe this isn't going to be as simple or straightforward as you thought? And if that's the case, it's perfectly normal to start having some of those doubts and fears and insecurities creeping in a little bit after that new energy, that high where everybody's talking about winning, everybody's got goals, everybody's ready to crush it, starts to sort of not be as commonly talked about on social media as it was before. So make sure that you check in with yourself, get back on track if you slipped a little bit. And that kind of ties into where I'm at in my life. So over the holidays in December, a lot of exciting things happened for me. Number one, I invested close to $1 million, just under $1 million, back into investments that are going to grow my wealth, back into my businesses, to hire people to do marketing, PR, systems, softwares, platforms, a lot of different aspects into my health, into my fitness, into my becoming a better father, a better husband, into different mentors and coaches. Like, I just heavily invested back into the things that matter to me. And we also had a record-breaking year in my business. We actually clocked in at $168 million in sales, which is just mind-boggling to a guy, as you know, my story that started a little over almost 11 years ago, to be doing those types of numbers in a single year is quite unheard of. And I'm so remarkably grateful and thankful that that's happening. And the most exciting part about that number isn't the sales number itself. It's actually the $100 million plus out of that got paid back into our family's pockets, that is allowing people to live with freedom, to live a higher quality and standard of life, and really to not hold back and play small towards their wants, their desires, and also the way that they want to contribute and give back to their families, to their communities, and to causes that they're passionate about all over the world. So I'm just super, super blown away by that. And as we got into the new year, for me, as I shared on a previous episode, it happens to be a 1 cycle year for me in numerology and an 8 global year in terms of all of us, which is a very powerful combination. So 1 is new beginnings, new ideas, new projects, lots of fresh starts and things like this. But in my case, most of what I have been doing, I want to do it more. I want to do it better. I want to double down. I want to put all the chips on the table and go harder and better and grow, and not necessarily start new projects or start new businesses or change directions in a lot of different things. And as I was really reflecting on where I was in my life and all the goals that I have achieved and the beautiful life that I do enjoy, there was something kind of missing in the sense of a new goal, a new target, something I can get really, really excited about to stretch and force myself to grow in a way. And I wanted to talk about this because over the last, decade plus, there's always been this target that inspires me, that motivates me, that I get obsessed about, that I can't stop thinking about. And it has to have a few key elements for it to really do that trick for myself. And a lot of you high achievers listening to this podcast, you'll understand what I mean. If you're in sports, it might be the championship, winning it all, becoming the best at what you do in your sport, and getting the trophies, the accolades, etc. But sometimes it's other things that really motivate and inspire you. And for myself, there's this combination of, if you want to be the best, let's say in a sport, then you always have that cop out, I guess, where if you didn't make it happen this year, then you can try again next year. And if you didn't do it that year, you can try again next year. And that's like an example of professional athletes, right? They might have 5, 10, 15, 20 year long careers, and they're hoping to at least win it once in that career. And many times, obviously, the greats, they win it multiple times and they go down as the greatest of all time because they've won it so many times during their career, which is unusual and very, very hard to do. So as I'm reflecting on certain things, I thought to myself, well, if I can just do it later and there's not really a penalty that is real, that feeling of like, oh man, like I can't mess this up. It's a do or die feeling. If you do not create a target, a goal that really feels like do or die, and there is no other second chance, there is no plan B, there is no next time, there is no next year. If you're able to really harness the power of this type of a target, this type of a goal, this type of achievement, it really forces you to dig deep on the days that things aren't going your way, or you want to just throw in the towel and get back to it tomorrow, or procrastinate or make excuses. You have this real burning desire within yourself, like to push through, to rise to the occasion, to find out what you're really made of. And I think a lot of people out there, they're missing this thing. They're missing this, whatever it might be. And you need to figure out, if you don't have this right now, what can it be? What can you turn into this undeniable, obsessive target that there is no other time it could possibly happen? And I'll give you a specific example of what I'm doing, and I am about to do it literally again. And I'm so excited about it because there's this combination of excitement. There's this combination of, wow, I have to become uncomfortable. I have to grow. I have to become better. I have to level up my game all across the board. But there's also a sense of fear that is like an underlying, oh man, can I do it? Am I capable? Can I become this higher version of myself that seems a little bit of a stretch, or in some cases a lot of a stretch? And so you're playing this balancing act of emotions of, yes, I can, maybe I can't. I think I can do it. I don't know, man. Are you sure? And you're kind of like playing this game. And if you can find that sweet spot and you also have the right personality that thrives under this type of pressure, back against the wall, a very specific target, very specific deadline, then you can move mountains and accomplish greatness in a relatively short period of time because you want it that bad. So the first time that I really did this and really experienced this was all the different targets and goals in my business for rank advancements. So I really got clear on what needed to happen, what were the sales, what were the numbers, how many people did I need to help, and when did I need to get it done by. And one of the best ways to leverage this type of emotion and this type of action is on physical dates. So the convention for the business that we're in, most of us anyways, it's a hard deadline date, okay? It's June 21st, 2024. In order to qualify for recognition and an award and stuff on stage, you have to hit that target of that next level and make sure that everything is done by the end of May to give them a few weeks of preparation to get trophies, certificates, awards, etc. So between now and the end of May is a very realistic, hard deadline for people to rise to the occasion or fall short and not make it. So that was how I have achieved massive things, because I was not willing. I simply was not willing to not make it happen by the deadline. So for myself, I have a very healthy relationship with deadlines because it's the perfect balance between pressure and excitement and joy and action and rising to the occasion, and like my thoughts kind of slow down, and I really do feel like a pro athlete that's like has the confidence and certainty of like, give me the ball, it's the game-winning drive, and I'm gonna take us down there and lead us to win this game or win this championship. That's like the feeling I get when those types of goals come. And so I need you to dig deep to find out what that is for you. And it might be a similar goal this year for you to rank up by the end of May to get that recognition in Japan. And it's much bigger than just a regular convention this year. It's the 50th anniversary. So to think about the next time that it might even be anywhere remotely as big as this one will be the 75th anniversary. That's literally in 25 years from now. That's how massive the magnitude of this one is, because it's the 50th. So from 50 to 75 and then 75 to 100, those are the massive ones. The decade-long ones are cool, like the 60th is going to be cool, the 70th is going to be cool, but the 75th will be ultimate, and then 100 will be like the ultimate, which will be literally double the 50th. The point is that this isn't just a regular year. This is a really massive year, and if you can like truly grasp and harness that energy and not just kind of take it so easy and casual and almost like deceive yourself that you have time. A lot of people are like, I got lots of time. So they don't feel that urgency and pressure now. But it's like, you got to act like you got a week left now. And then when that week ends, you have another week left again, and another week left again. It's not like I got 5 months. If you act like you got 5 months, I promise you're not showing up with enough urgency, with enough action, with enough excitement, okay? So you got to kind of like make those deadlines come closer to you to feel the pressure, to work harder, to get up early, to work late, to make extra calls, to film extra ads, to practice more, to show up more, and so forth, to actually get that winning energy, that playoff energy where you got to win this championship in your own story, right? This isn't about the championship for everybody. This is about your journey, your story, what you're capable of, and keeping the promises you made yourself that you will, in fact, rank advance this year. So that's one thing. But there's another specific thing that I want to share with you about it'll be 7 years this July 1st. So 6.5 years ago, whatever. We moved into our current dream home that you see me recording this into. It's a 5,000 square foot house, 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, home gym, theater room. It's an amazing house, 3-car garage. Everything's like done out exactly how we want. Okay. It has all the bells and whistles, smart home automation, waterfall in the backyard, all the things, right? My studio here is like, I don't even know how much, tens of thousands of dollars in equipment, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like an incredible place for us to live. But when we found it initially, it was 18 months before our house was built and it was finished and ready to move in, where we needed to get our mortgage in place and all the down payments in place and all this stuff. So we came and checked it out. And we fell in love with it. We found out that it was custom build. We can change the layout, the walls, the finishings, the furnishings, the blah, 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 blah. We were able to do all that stuff. That's exactly what we wanted, because we're both very particular people, my wife and I. We like things a specific way, and we're not the type of people to move into someone else's idea or move into someone else's vision, right? Like secondhand, or like, it's all right, but we don't really like this. And that's not our style. Our style is like, we want it brand new, custom. We design it like full diamond life, right? So anyways, we did that. And at the time, here's what was really interesting. We weren't really in a position financially to afford this house when we found it 18 months before we moved in. And so we're checking it out. We're going through the whole process with the realtor and the pricing and the stuff, and it was listed for $1.6 million plus all the extras and stuff we got to add on. And we're self-employed, and in Canada you have to have a larger down payment when you're self-employed, because the system's rigged against business owners, unfortunately. And so 30% down on a $1.6 million house is no small amount of change, right? And not only that, but there's closing costs, there's taxes you have to pay to make sure that your taxes are up to date for the income that you need to claim on paper to get qualified for the mortgage that you need. So there's all these hoops you got to jump through, and everything's got to be lined up. So anyways, at the time, there was an option for us to hold the lot. There was no house construction started. We hadn't chosen the layout. We haven't gone through the whole process of picking and designing and customizing the things we wanted to do. But you could purchase the land, like reserve the lot for $100,000, non-refundable $100,000. And so there was a level of risk of like, okay, first of all, I have no idea how we're going to come up with the down payment 18 months from now, plus closing costs, plus this, plus that. And it's $100,000. That's the risk of holding this lot. And the process that I took myself through is this process of visualizing the person who I was going to become between that moment and 18 months from now. And I knew that if I continue to work on myself, if I continue to take massive action, if I continue to move in the direction that I know my heart was leading me to, the man that I was becoming and so forth, there was no way I was going to be the same individual in 18 months as I was in that moment. So in that moment, the Balazs of that moment was afraid. The Balazs of that moment was like, oh man, $100,000, this is a big chunk of change, especially that is non-refundable. There's a lot of risk. And I was also getting myself into something I didn't fully understand. I didn't understand the process. I didn't understand the closing costs. I didn't understand the surprises with taxes and government and payment and this and that. I had no clue. So I was going into it semi-blind with this hopeful, optimistic perception. And I looked at my wife and we had this conversation, and she's looking at me. She's like, I don't know. Like, I don't think this is a smart idea. I think it's really risky. What if we lose the money? What if we can't get the mortgage? What if we can't get the house? Like all the fears and all the stuff. She's like, I don't know if this is a good call. But she's looking at me, and I'm processing this in my own way that I do things. And I'm like, I can do this, man. Like, I have the belief in myself. I have the certainty in myself. My business is going to continue to grow. I was going to be 682-3 by that point, I believe it was. No, did I think we had just hit it or something. I can't remember now what year it was. We moved in 2016. So I think we had just hit 682-3. Anyways, so it was like borderline. We were spending money we didn't earn yet. There was a lot of risk of like things going well, the business growing, the compounding effect of the business and stuff like that. So it was a risky move that most people wouldn't take because most people make their decisions based on their current reality, their current circumstances as everything is right now. And so when they make their decisions, they're contemplating like, well, I can't afford it right now. This isn't smart to do right now. This is a bad idea right now. So everything's based on right now, not on where you will be in 18 months or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. And so the point that I made here is that it was such a beautiful 18 months. It had its ups and downs. I was stressed out. There was some things that didn't go my way. There was a bunch of surprises, and it was a thrilling roller coaster type of experience to go from that moment of here's $100,000 to like, what the F did we just do? And how am I going to figure this thing out in the next 18 months? But we pulled it off. And what happened during that experience is that I truly became a new me. I forged into a new individual. And then I haven't had anything quite like that in a while. So recently, my wife and I are doing this similar thing again, where we're investing into our dream vacation property. I'm not going to share the details just yet, but the completion will be in January 2026. So it's 2 years from the time of this recording. And so it's the same sort of deal of putting down a large chunk of money that is not going to be refundable to build this exactly what we've always dreamed of, and growing into the price point, into the experience, into everything in 2 years from now as a target, as a goal that I could be excited about. So I actually have this commitment, I have, what's the word? Skin in the game. It makes it so much more real of all the goals and all the things that I got to show up for. We're like, I got to make this thing happen, man, because in 2 years, there will be a moment like a judgment day where, Balazs, did you grow? Did you become who you needed to be during that 2 years or not? So for me, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because like I could feel the fire burning like crazy inside of myself because of this decision, because of this scary unknown of what the future has in store. And obviously we don't know, we don't have a crystal ball, but it's like, I'm going for it because I'll be turning 40 right before this goal gets achieved. So it's like, I'm actually growing into my 40th year now at age 38, and the next 2 years is basically showtime and go time to make that reality happen in January 2026. And it's just like, for some people, when they listen to what I'm saying, they think I'm absolutely nuts, crazy, off my meds. Why would you do something like that? It's going to be so stressful and all the things. But to certain people that might be listening that are similar to how I am with my personality and so on, you guys are smiling right now going, fuck, that's a great idea. What can I do? What can I find? Make a deposit on something, like maybe it's a pre-build construction, building, townhouse, condo, something like this, where you can reserve it with a bit of money that you have available right now with credit cards or savings or whatever, or you sell your car, you do something kind of crazy a little bit to like put the deposit down. And then whatever developer or company that you're dealing with is like, you're going to have to pay the rest when this is finished in 2 years. It might be like a supercar, a dream car, or a condo, or a project, or something. And it might also be, going to convention. Like you might buy your flight and your hotel and certain things like that before you even hit the rank. And you're like, I'm paying for this stuff now as if I was a 6A or a 6A2 or -2 or -3 or whatever your goal is. I'm going to act as that person right now and stretch and grow myself, because I know that if I show up every single day consistently for the next, 5 months or 2 years or whatever the timeline is, that by the time you arrive to that moment in the future and arrive at that destination, everything will have fallen into place. The finances will fall into place. The team that you need will fall into place. The rank will fall into place. It will all come together beautifully because you boldly chose your future in advance. You claimed it right now. And I personally feel like without some kind of target like this that's very real, very tangible, it's on the calendar, there's been a deposit made, it's real as it gets, you are living in fantasy reality, wishful thinking, dream la la land. There's so many people out there that have, oh, one day I'm going to move here. One day I'm going to buy this. One day. One day doesn't exist. One day is not on the calendar, okay? One day, there's no month of the year that's called one day. There's no date on the calendar that's called one day. So therefore, the only one day that will happen for sure is the day that you die with those dreams, with those goals unrealized. And so for myself, it's like, make it real, make it land, make yourself excited, and stretch and grow into that next level version of yourself. Because if not, you are complacent, you are comfortable, you are just coasting by. Your life is just good enough, and you're okay with it because you're not taking any sort of bold, risky moves that are not really that risky when you know that you're going to show up as the person that needs to show up to get the job done. And man, it's the funnest thing ever in life to have those kinds of goals, have those types of targets, and then put some money, put some skin in the game, make some kind of bold commitment. Go on social media and say, January 1st, 2026, this is going to happen. And then you get the reminder and the memory, and it's like, watch me, I'm doing it, I'm making it happen, okay? So that's my episode for today is set a target, commit to it, have some kind of buy-in where you're actually fully committed to it. And then show up to execute on that vision, and knowing that the person you're going to be in that timeline is going to be drastically better and improved and a next level version of yourself compared to who you are today. And the only difference between that and where you want to go is who you become, how you show up, the daily method of operation, and just chipping away. But like this obsessive singular target is right there, and it's do or die. There's no next time, there's no next year, there's no next convention, there's no next dream property, there's no next dream opportunity. It's one life, one shot, one target, one goal. Make it real, go make it happen. And I'm super pumped and excited for 2024 because, man, I'm on a whole new level, and I hope you are as well. And you're keeping those promises to yourself. And I'll see you again real soon on the next episode. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.